The rain pressed against the street like a hand trying to pry something loose. Neon pooled on the curb and spilled into the lantern. A faded cinema tucked between a closed tailor and a bakery that still warmed bread no one bought anymore. Inside, the air tasted coppery, the way a certain kind of fear tastes, metallic and close. I was supposed to audit the place for a new, immersive mystery night, but the moment I stepped through the door, I could tell the show had already begun without me. The lobby smelled of stale popcorn and old velvet, the kind that clings to your skin and never quite wears off. A single vending machine croaked softly in the corner, spitting out a wrapper it would never fold again, and the ticket counter wore a cautious grin of dust and rainwater. The projector room, up a narrow creak of stairs, hummed with a cold, dark life. It wasn't on the day's schedule, not until a rainstorm remembered to remind us it existed. In the back corridor, posters of past screenings peeled like sunburn. A flyer lay on the floor, edges curled in a curl that felt like a question mark. It showed a girl with a crescent-shaped scar under her left eye, the kind of innocent detail that sticks to your memory like a burr. On the ground, a smear of lipstick, someone's secret in a single smear across a map of the room. A chair sat under a bare bulb, and the bulb flickered in a manner that suggested someone was pretending to sleep but had never learned how to. The first room I entered was the sound suite, a beige box of a space with cables like vines and a rattling old console that looked as though it had learned to talk from the 60s. A pair of headphones lay on the table, as if waiting for a confession. A monitor glowed, flashing rows of silence, until the room filled with it. The sound of a city breathing through rain-soaked bricks, the distant crash of a wave against a pier, the soft thump of something dragging across the stage floor. The immersive piece would begin when a bell rang, a cue to walk toward the red curtain and listen for the past. But it began with a whisper instead. I didn't know where it came from. A voice not loud, but clear as a coin dropped into a fountain. Do you remember how it ends? Clues appeared as I moved. A small boy's toy car tucked into the gap behind a seat, a lipstick-streaked cup left on a prop table, a dry erase note in someone's handwriting that said, in block letters, look behind the screen. The theater complied with every cue. I found a narrow trapdoor behind the screen, opened it, and climbed down into a narrow staircase that smelled of damp plywood and salt. Down there was a room I wasn't meant to see, filthy, intimate, and strangely lit by a single, stubborn bulb. It housed a projector and a stack of film cans, like a choir of old secrets. The reels had labels I recognized from the posters, Reel 7, Reel 9, though the room was an archive, not a performance. A monitor flickered to life, and the film began to play without my touch, as if the room itself had pressed play the moment I descended. The footage showed the cinema as it had once been when it was new. A night when a girl with that crescent scar stood in the lobby, and a man in a raincoat followed her into the back rooms. The scene cut to me, or to someone who looked like me, walking the same corridor I had just walked, listening to a voice both mine and not mine. The voice of a director, maybe, or the shadow of one. On the screen, the girl disappeared into a door that sealed behind her with a faint click I could hear in real life as well. The projector stuttered, then steadied, and the film rolled on to reveal a final tableau. A chair, a curtain, a silhouette against a pale wall, and a clock that read the exact minute we'd walked into this theater, as if time itself could be paused and examined. I stared at the screen, listening to the room breathe. The same whisper came again, softer now. Do you remember how it ends? The twist hit me with the force of a curtain dropping on a stage I hadn't known existed. The girl on the screen, the scar, the lipstick, the trap behind the screen, these weren't relics of someone else's memory. They were mine. The lantern hadn't been staging a haunted mystery for an audience. It had been staging the reenactment of my own life, a life I'd forgotten, a life that had not ended the way memory insisted it had. The film cut to black. The bulb above the chair blew with a tiny, exasperated sigh, and the room fell silent except for the rain at the doors. Then a voice spoke, warm and intimate, not from the projector, but from the room itself. You found the end. But the end was never for the living. I stood there in the dark, the room's air pressing against me like the memory of a door that would never quite stay closed. And then the curtain stirred somewhere beyond the stage, as though someone was preparing a new beginning for an ending I didn't yet know how to read.